Ivan, we get this question all the time.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. It's just rained. I have pollen on my car. I want to clean it. Do I just take the towel and wipe it off? Do I just take the hose and hose it off?
I mean, they've earned that, right? They put the ceramic coating on their vehicle, perhaps ceramic gloss, it's protected. They can just give it the quick wiperoo.
Yeah, no, don't do that. You need lubrication. Now, this car came in from the rain. We're going to show you the proper way of doing it, and no, it's not going to take hours to do. It's very, very quick, it's very efficient, it's very fast, and you're going to get spectacular results.
Maybe they Googled this and it's a search result and they don't want us to yak away. So let's show them how to wash a freshly rained on vehicle safely, Ivan. Let's get to it.
Right. Now, Nick, you're adept at using bottles. You love sprayers because the guy is trigger happy. So we're going to show you two different ways. Nick can use the trigger bottle that has rinseless wash diluted 256:1 in it.
1 capsule of our rinseless wash concentrate per gallon of water. Super simple, super cost effective. The way you get the proper dilution, you just dunk an empty sprayer into your rinseless wash bucket.
Or if you're doing this often, you can use a keg like I have in my hands, and off we go. Now the reason we're doing this is we're putting a foundation of lubrication on here. The rinseless wash will lubricate the whole surface and start emulsifying what dirt is on there. Now we're starting with the premise that your car was clean before it rained.
Ivan, yours is a way more efficient method. I'm still getting my first or second panel here.
Yeah.
Now I know why we use the kegs.
Exactly. It's just a little quicker.
Why do we want to put the rinseless on the surface first? I think I know the answer, but I like to ask. Why do we put the rinseless on before we hit it with a contact media?
Now, the vehicle was wet. Water is not a lubricant. Water is a solvent. Oh, I've already done the whole...
Well, when you're trigger happy, you don't like to stop.
Yeah, from the mirrors back, it's all done. But what we're wanting to do here is just wash the car. And... but he'll run out eventually.
All right, there you go.
Anyways, what we want to do is wash the vehicle. And if we take our sponge to just a water-filled vehicle, there's a risk because that dirt that's on there, that little bit of dust, isn't encapsulated. It is not emulsified. It's just sitting there. And the sponge, yes, it does a great job. It's safe. But that little extra that we have on the surface is going to make it a lot safer.
So it's safe now? We've pulled up enough of the dirt in those polymer bubbles?
Right, exactly. Now, if your vehicle was really dirty, you'd want to hose it off and apply again. But this one just had a light dusting of pollen and it rained on it. So this is all we're needing to do. Now we take our wash sponge and we're not going to use it like this. We're going to squeeze it. We want it just on the verge of dripping. We're going to be using the sponge for what it's designed to do, and that is lift the dirt off the surface. So we have the rinseless wash, we have the water, and we have the dirt there. When we take the sponge, we glide it across the surface, no pressure whatsoever, and it is absorbing the dirt that's on the surface into the face of the sponge. Once it's done that, when we return it to the bucket, it's going to drop that dirt down into the bucket, and we're going to come out with a clean sponge once again.
If you want to find that sponge, by the way, bottom left of your screen, it's a pretty amazing thing. Ivan, how many vehicles do you think you can get out of your legacy sponge before it, bites the dust, so to speak?
A good 500 or so.
Yeah, 500 vehicles out of this thing.
Easy.
It's a tank.
Yeah.
It's such a great investment for your car washing that, depending on if you're just doing this as an enthusiast or a professional, a lot of people who have one vehicle and just wash their car at home love the sponge. I love it too.
Right. Speaking of sponges, there's one on the other side of the vehicle for you, Nick.
One thing people might realize, because I do love watching you work, I love to talk and I love to watch you work, so this is just perfect for me. There's a very thick sponge in your hand, right? And I look at that as really mitigating against pressure points.
Right. It's insurance. And no pressure on the sponge whatsoever. Let the sponge do the work for you. You're maintaining your car, you're keeping it clean. One of the reasons for washing your car on a regular basis is to not have problems when washing it. The more often you wash it, the easier it is to wash.
And I'm not putting any pressure on the sponge either.
No.
You sure this is safe, Ivan?
Very safe. You know, rinseless washing, it might be new to you, but it's definitely not new to the industry. It's been around over 20 years. Actually, people were doing it way before that, but specific rinseless wash chemicals have been around for a long time. They work, they're efficient, they're effective.
The whole idea here is a quick way to get your paint back to where it was before the rain happened.
Right.
Because it can be frustrating, you get that car wash, you wash your own vehicle, then it gets rained on.
Now Nick, I don't know if you hear it, but I hear a bit of contamination on this vehicle.
And that's true. So this might be if you've just washed it or if it just rained and maybe it needs a little more love, right?
Yeah.
Are we giving people a choose your own adventure option in this video?
Right. So if you were just washing it, at this point, you're ready to dry. But we're gonna go one step further. Because you can actually hear the contamination. That means it needs to be decontaminated. Not something you're gonna do every week, not something you're gonna do every day. But every 3 or 4 months, it's always a good thing.
Ivan, if you drop your microfiber wash spin on the ground, chances are it could get all kinds of gunk in it that never come out.
Right.
If you drop the Legacy sponge
On the ground like this?
well, I've done it twice already. I want to
okay,
get
yeah.
your thoughts on whether it comes clean in the bucket.
Yeah, as soon as you put it back in the bucket, it's clean.
That's why this really is an investment. Is it will take a lot of abuse, so to speak. I mean,
Right.
we're not telling you to go out and treat it like a Cybertruck and shoot it and see if it's
No.
bulletproof, but it goes through a lot, right? And it keeps on trucking.
Now, you'll notice I left the front bumper till last. The reason for that is we were driving around. There might be a few insects. The rinseless wash emulsifies those insects, breaks them down. That way, when I go over it with a sponge, they're gone. And people worry about the sponge and how am I going to get these little intricate parts of the grill? Well, I got all in this grill without a problem whatsoever because the sponge with the little fingers actually gets in there quite nicely. And the front has a bit of dirt on it, so now we can retire the sponge to its bucket. And in another bucket here, I have my perforated synthetic decontamination towels and some ceramic gloss hanging around just for fun. Here you go, Nick.
Thank you.
Now, when you're doing this, first of all, let's just back up 1 second here. If you're just doing a wash, at this point, you are ready to dry the vehicle. You take your drying towel of choice, in my case, the drying blanket, and start drying.
The rinseless wash provides enough lubrication for you to just go for it.
Right. No need for a drying aid. But if you want a drying aid, we have ceramic gloss.
So this is, I mean, it is that quick. One product, get it on the paint, Legacy sponge, boom, dry.
Exactly.
This is the fastest way to do it. You could stop watching now.
Yeah, but we want to step it up a little bit. We want to have a better clean, and we notice that contamination on the vehicle. So we have the ceramic gloss, we have the decontamination towels. Let me get this window wet once again.
Oh, you even have 2 towels? Thanks, Ivan.
One thing that's important is you want to dry as you're going. So here you go, Nick.
Thank you.
And the reason we're drying as we're going is very simple. The ceramic gloss, as it sets up, it sort of sets up really hard. So if you leave it swirled and smeared on the surface, not a good idea.
I sprayed once on the paint.
Yeah.
Once on the towel.
That's all you need.
Deposited the towel where I sprayed on the paint.
Yep.
And I'm not putting any pressure on this towel, Ivan. That's a big no-no with the decon towel.
Right. Pressure is not your friend.
And what I feel grateful for here is there's so much rinseless on the surface. And if rinseless does one thing well besides clean, it's provide lubrication. So
Exactly.
we have the bed of rinseless to lubricate this process. The towel is gliding. It's doing the work it needs to do. And we're getting protection and a cleaner surface in one.
And then, while I'm here, I'm just going to do this little fender because it's very small. I can put this back in my wash bucket, let it rest for a second. While I dry, let me get a drying towel as well. I gave Nick one, but I didn't grab one for myself.
I appreciate that. You're a giving man. One panel per side of the towel, and then when you get after 4 panels, you just redunk your towel in your rinseless, your decon towel.
Yeah.
If you're curious how to use this thing, how do I do this safely?
Well, I'm sure in the description below there'll be links as well.
We have a lot of how-to videos for a lot of our products and processes, and I suppose you would say it processes being a native Canadian, Evan.
No processes.
Oh, processes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that tip about just wiping it immediately. That sounds like something I'd forget to do. I'll just go do the whole car, and ceramic gloss, for as user-friendly and as much as it just smells amazing, it's a very robust product.
Exactly. And if you happen to leave it on the surface and forget to dry it, no stress. Just add a little more. It's gonna break down what's already there, re-liquefy it, and you're good to go. And yes, we are doing this to the windows as well. It's gonna make them hydrophobic. Great when you're driving around town and it's raining. You'll be able to see a lot better and a lot safer, especially out on the highway.
So we'd be done by now. We just added that extra step of the towel and then the towel, which really isn't much time at all.
No.
But we're pretty close to having this all wrapped up. We didn't wash the wheels yet, Ivan.
No, and we'll do that at the end.
Okay.
They're wet, they're staying wet. Not a big deal. We have a very simple way of cleaning them. Again, the more you wash your car, the easier it's going to be to maintain and keep it clean. And the wheels are a big part of that.
If using the decon towel without a hose and a proper, 7 bucket wash scares you, then do it your way. Ivan, you teach methods to be efficient and help business owners be profitable, and ultimately it's the person's call in their driveway or with the vehicle and products they have, so keep it open as an option. Try it. You might be surprised.
Yeah, and yes, I teach how to be efficient, but I also teach how to get quality jobs and safely. So no, I'm not going to teach you anything that's going to damage a vehicle.
Talk to the person who's scared. They think, that towel, it's going to mar the paint.
Well, here, let's come to the hood here for a second. Nick, do you see any marring on this hood?
No, not when I dried it.
No, there is no marring on this hood. So the perforated synthetic decontamination towel is perfectly safe. But detailers, if you've been detailing for a while, you'll know this. Overthinking is sort of a common trait of detailers. And they see this as you're taking rocks off the paint and scraping it all over the place with that towel. Well, very far from that. Remember, you've washed the vehicle. Contamination, you can't see it, you can't feel it. But it's there.
One thing you might do if the paint dries up on you is spray a little bit of rinseless on the panel. As I get to these last couple panels,
Yep.
I'm just on the verge of some of it evaporating, the rinseless, and so
Right.
if I'm concerned about it not having enough lubrication, a spritz of rinseless first, and then my ceramic gloss again, could be another way to just maintain that lubrication that's so important when you touch anything on paint.
Right, so a little hit with the sponge on my case, and off we go. And we can actually hear the contamination on the side door, and behind the front wheels is usually the worst contamination on the vehicle, and that's the case here. And as I go, it gets quieter and quieter, and I feel it less and less. And there we go, no more contamination. Don't forget the mirror. Now if you're doing this on a regular basis, washing your car, nice little cart to roll around your supplies on is a great tool to have.
Got my bottle of rinseless just for my last panel here.
And if you had a leftover bug remain on the front bumper, this is going to take care of it for you.
And saving the front bumper till the end makes a lot of sense. Talk about that with going after any bug guts, pre-treating it with rinseless, letting it dwell.
you're allowing the rinseless to emulsify it and break it down. So making it so you need to use less pressure, less agitation to remove the remains. And there's a principle of cleaning called chat. Nick, can you elaborate?
Yes, spray of rinseless first, then ceramic gloss. Chat, chemical, heat, agitation, and time. So you have these 4 pillars of cleaning. When you have less of one, you're gonna need more of the others. So oftentimes we don't have heat. You know, you're not gonna use hot water to clean because you have something coming out of your spigot. You might need more agitation, you might need more time, which is dwell time of the product, or you might need more chemical. We have the chemical on the front, right, Ivan? We have the dwell time of the rinseless wash.
Yep.
And then a bit of agitation with the decon towel at the end makes light work of those bug guts.
Exactly.
Yeah, people ask, what temperature should my rinseless wash solution or soap bucket be? Is hot water gonna clean better?
Hot water is going to clean a little better, but have the bucket so it's comfortable for you. The chemical really doesn't matter and doesn't care what temperature it's in. You know, you don't want it boiling and you don't want it frozen, but anywhere in between is good. And for you though, as the user, if it's the winter and you're putting your hand in a cold bucket of water, that's never fun. Now Nick, I'm a little older than you and getting down on the ground is not as fun. So I'm going to use a little tool to help, but get a utility towel in your rinseless wash bucket. We have on the wheels already sprayed rinseless wash. So I don't want it too dry, but I don't want it too wet. And this is one of the advantages of maintaining your car on a regular basis. Your wheels won't get awfully dirty. In reality, you know, the fender right behind the wheel gets a lot dirtier than the wheel normally does. So I'm just going to use a rinseless dampened towel, and we have rinseless wash already on the surface, and I'm just going to go around my wheel and clean it. It's that simple. And if you're washing your car once a week, and maybe even every 2 weeks, your wheels are never going to get that dirty. Here you go, Nick.
Thank you.
And then a couple sprays of ceramic gloss to make the drying easier.
I love keeping up on wheels so that the wheel cleaning process is easier and more of a wipe down.
Yeah, exactly.
All wheels are different, so use common sense. If you've got very expensive black wheels that you just look at them and they scratch, you can choose your method of cleaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you want the 10 towel method for those.
You
6
can.
buckets, 10 towels, 8 steps, say a prayer, do a song and dance.
Yeah.
You can make detailing as complicated as you want, folks. But we're here to try to cut through it and hopefully make it a little bit more simple and give you the great results that ultimately I think everyone's after. But empower everybody to think for themselves too. If you see something that doesn't look right, always err on the side of what you think is best for your vehicle.
Finally, a bit of tire dressing. And Nick, is there another video they should be watching?
Well, they might wonder, could I have just used waterless wash for this, Ivan?
They sure can, and it's right there.
All right, check it out.